if I was younger and I told my parents I didn't like anything, I was a dead man. Like, oh my dad would sit me down at the table and sit me down with the food, and he's like, you have 10 counts to finish this food.
And like
he has a belt with him.
Yeah.
Right.
He starts counting 1.
Yeah, my dad was
2.
like that too, man. Like he would make me. He would sit at the table. He's like, "You're not leaving this table until that's all gone."
Like, he doesn't even get to 10. He's like 4. Oh, you're like all snotty and teary, and you're trying to eat. Like, no, please.
Oh, the trauma.
Well, that way it made me eat everything. Like I eat everything now. Like
yeah, we see that
no matter what it is.
Every day at lunch. Hey, Elvis, you want to try this? Heck yeah, I do.
Yeah, but your taste buds change too.
That's very true.
So you can't just dismiss things for life.
Yeah, true.
They say they change like what? It's like every couple of years or something.
And every 7 years, your cells are completely replaced.
Really? Oh, wow. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Modify with Trickfactory Customs. If this is your first time watching, my name is Elvis.
Tim?
Rob.
Awesome. And this is a podcast where we just talk about car modifications. We're a custom automotive shop here in Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. And we just love talking. We love modifying cars. And so we started a podcast around it.
That's right.
So with that said, let us jump right in. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Trickfactory Customs. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias, because we are there. So with that said, I think this week is going to be a very interesting topic. And it is on the subject of electrifying classic cars.
Classic cars.
And simply put, is electrifying classic cars a sin? And there's some strong opinions here on this topic, that's why I think it's going to be very interesting. But before we dive into that topic, how has your week been?
I can't even say. I don't even remember what I did this week.
It's been a hectic week for
It's
sure.
already over.
We're doing big shop changes. So we've been moving equipment around, moving cars around, chasing motors. And yeah, it's been a crazy week. So
Wow.
It's been kind of a blur. So I haven't really worked on any one thing specifically.
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place right now, just trying to make big moves. Right now, we have huge changes in the shop, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, literally
it's
huge.
absolutely insane. We're setting up another paint booth, and we're having to reinvent our whole shop floor plan.
Yeah.
So
It's been a big week.
Yeah, yesterday you guys moved a 17,000 pound metal brake.
that's right.
Yeah. That was terrifying to look at. I was like, oh.
Me and Rob have done it before, but nobody else has. So I think it was pretty stressful for them. Brett was sweating quite a bit.
yeah. Brett was pretty nervous about
We had
it.
Steve there.
Calm
Steve
him
was
down.
the shop foreman, so I don't know if he was helping or making it worse. But he had his own opinions and strategies. But yeah,
Looks like it went well though.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we'd done
super
it
smooth.
before, so we knew what to expect. But I think for them it was pretty. It's a pretty big move.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell them like, yeah, we're just gonna throw it on some machine skates, and we're just gonna push it over. Just push it over, right?
Oh.
It's just, it literally was that simple.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what machine skates are.
I did not know
Anybody-
what they were until yesterday. I was like, oh.
It's harder to get them on the skates than it is to actually move the piece of equipment.
Yeah. It's it's a big deal. 17,000 pound brake
That's
press.
a
It's,
lot.
I mean, it's
Yeah, it'll pancake you pretty quick.
you gotta take
You
that
got to
pretty
treat it
serious.
with a lot of respect.
Oh yeah. Or else you are history. Or
But yeah,
pancake.
so that was the last several days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I feel like
it's
that's
coming
pretty
along
much
pretty
what's
well.
been happening all week.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably
and I think
most of next week too.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get to this point for months, but
Wow.
things just, we got to play it by ear sometimes.
that, and we just got to keep workflow going in the shop too. I mean, you can only take so much time off from completing customer stuff
Very
to
true.
be able to keep moving the shop forward. And
So-
yeah,
But ultimately, when it's done, things should be faster. So we should be able to make up that time.
That would be awesome because we have like 3 cars that are ready to get
for
painted.
paint.
yeah.
So-
kind of all of them kind of just been in queue.
We're going to look like one of those TV shows the next 3 weeks.
Just
We'll be
pumping out
banging
cars.
out like one a week. It's going to be crazy.
Awesome. So if you guys are interested to see what cars are in the queue to get painted, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trickfactory Customs, because there's some
Getting
cool
back into the fun
projects.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so excited. Slant nose. No, not slant nose.
the wide body miles worth,
yes.
the RSR tribute
Porsche,
car,
yeah.
and then we got to get the Lambo done.
And I might try to sneak my little Porsche into.
That would be sick. Oh, I cannot wait to see the colors. It's gonna be glorious.
Yeah.
So, with that said, we are just going to dive straight into the topic of, is electrifying classic cars a sin? I feel like recently this has become a big topic amongst car people. 10 years ago, for example, that was not really a thing, and people were still on the fence about even electric cars being a thing.
Only hippies did it.
Right. I mean, there was some pretty creative expressions of electric conversions into cars before.
Yeah.
I think people used to use like forklift motors and
Forklift.
Oh
things,
my-
things like
really?
that at some
What?
point. Yeah.
Forklift.
Oh yeah,
motors.
and they
they still
actually
do.
work
What?
really well.
But you
but-
probably can't really go fast. You're probably going
No,
like 10 miles per
they
hour.
ripped, but
Oh,
I think
or the range.
The battery life.
the
was terrible.
range,
The range
terrible.
was like
was horrible.
30 miles.
Cool.
So it was almost useless. So if you're
Weight, you know.
The weight.
I mean, that's
yes.
a big part
Even
of
now,
electric vehicles,
like, weight
right?
is a huge factor.
So I mean, to answer your question right off, I mean, to electrify a classic vehicle, probably not a good idea if
Why'd you
weight
say that?
gain or weight is
Mm.
part of your
Factor.
But your power to
Decision
weight
choice.
ratio changes drastically because it depends what classic you're talking about.
That's
Right.
that's very
Like if you're
true.
putting it in like 150 horsepower Porsche 911 and now you got 450 but you gain 600 pounds, it's probably not that detrimental as long as you make moves to correct
The weight
suspension
gain, yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Like
Well, I
if
mean,
you
that-
leave it on stock suspension, it's going to be terrible, and that's
Yeah.
most people's association to EV conversions. It usually only goes as far as the motor and batteries.
Yes.
But now everything's gotten so much better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you've been talking with a company to do the conversions for
Are we allowed
the
to say
G
their
wagon
name
and
Of course we are.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
and the Defender, and I was pretty interested when you started talking about like scanning the vehicle so the battery packs can be dispersed amongst the vehicle
So
for
s-
weight distribution
Yeah.
and
Speaking
all
of
that,
that,
kind of stuff.
I just
right?
want to
So that
give
was
some
pretty cool.
pre-context to this.
Okay,
we're-
first we have to answer the original question.
Yes.
No, it's stupid.
So
Horrible.
so why
I hate
though?
it, but it's not stopping us from doing it.
So and
It's super cool.
And we are doing some projects too. That's kind of why I think this is a good topic because
Yeah.
right now what are we doing? We're doing more than one
Doing
electric conversion.
Land Rover Defender, a 1966. So that one's getting converted, and we're
Okay.
doing a two-door G-Wagon cabriolet, power top cabriolet.
I'm so mind blown that he decided to do that with
Yeah,
cabriolet.
that's-
Me too.
Epic.
That's
I'm
pretty
sure.
awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
though.
He's stoked though. He's all
Yeah.
in.
Sweet.
Oh, those
He
are
wants
gonna
it to
be
be a
pretty fun.
big deal vehicle too.
And then
so
we
that's
have
It's a Porsche?
a 993 Porsche that we have to do as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll see how we feel about it when we come out the other side of
So
it.
as of right now, though, you're not an advocate for it or a fan of
I
it?
was definitely not an early adopter.
Interesting. Okay.
But now, after you follow the technology and where things are at, and you're starting to see other people do it, it's definitely like it's intriguing and it's pretty amazing. Like it's come a long ways and it's become undeniable.
yeah.
Like, there's
For sure it has.
the power output and the delivery is like you can't ignore it
Yeah.
anymore. So you're gonna lose some visceral things, but I think it's being replaced with a different visceral sense. So like the acceleration, like linear acceleration, like that is insane.
Insane.
Like
trying
flatten your eyeballs.
Yeah, flatten your
Yeah.
eyeballs.
It's not even
acceleration,
comparable.
You might be offsetting the noise of an ICE engine, but it's crazy.
But I also
It's
feel
got
like they
different
also
types
have their
of
own
noises
noise.
though, right?
Exactly. They
Yeah.
have their own noise.
Yeah.
So
I
it's-
mean, you got like the sounds of like gear mesh whining, and the sound of suspension moving,
Yeah.
tires on the pavement, just like creaks of the chassis flex and all those weird sort of things that you never hear.
Yeah. I feel like that's a big one because when people do the electric swaps, they don't think, sometimes they might not think about all the extra noises that are drowned out by the engine of the car, the combustion engine.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a lot of what those early conversions are. But like
Yeah.
even in our normal hot rod builds now, like the level in which stuff's been elevated to, like so many things now are part of the build, like sound deadening and proper seals and air conditioning and power windows and like all these amenities that before were not a thing. Like people did not incorporate it, and it always looked like an add-on. But now that stuff's being engineered into it in the front end, and things are just so much better. So you're not going to do like these things are crazy expensive to build.
Well, the electric,
like an EV
crazy.
conversion, they're not cheap.
Like
that's one of the major downfalls.
They probably cost twice as much as something else. Like I'm not going to say the numbers, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So you're not going to just slap it in there and send it down the road because it'll be, like they're buying the total package.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of those old
ones are so cheap. Like they're like what, $2,000? Or
they're not the same. Like where you see it's like 15 grand.
Yeah, it's a different
like you
level.
might be able to buy the motor for 15 grand. But everything
Controller,
else, it's crazy. And if you want enough batteries to actually get someplace, I would say 50% of your conversion cost is just in batteries.
Wow. Yeah,
wow.
That's nuts.
That's insane.
Because if you want a range that you can go someplace, you're needing to get up like 125, 150
At
kilowatts.
least, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of batteries. And the battery packs are generally about $2,000 to $2,500 a piece. And you got to run like 20 of them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it gets expensive fast.
Yeah, you see, I didn't know that because I'm used to, again, looking at the old school stuff, electric conversions and putting in like Carmanguias and
and you see it's like you can 13,000.
Yeah, you just that's
it.
affordable. That's it.
Until you got to buy batteries.
Yeah.
Or you put those car batteries or golf cart batteries and you run them in there and you're doing like 30 miles. And it takes you 3 days to charge it up.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's
a huge flaw in the whole thing.
But yeah, it's cool though that Tesla has come up. That's a huge like company now, but it's cool that they've come up with so much advancement in the battery technology area, and and so I think a lot of people use Tesla cells or Tesla. Is that what we're using for?
Yeah, there's so many different ones available and they're coming up so fast, but regardless of what your feelings are on Tesla, they're still leading by a fair distance. Yeah. So like a lot of what we're buying is Tesla cells, but they've come down to wrecked cars, but they'll grade them and then sell them based on how much use they've had.
Interesting.
So ultimately you want to get the best ones you can, but there is other batteries available, but they're just still like the charge rate and discharge rate's not there, and they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
And the nice thing about the Tesla cells is like they're modular. You can make it as big or as small as you want, and we can split them and place them to get the vehicle weights where we need to be.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit because what we see is sometimes in electric car builds or electric classic car swaps or builds is they just put the battery and everything in just one spot. Like, where the engine used to be, just place it there. Yeah. But it's like a lot of the times what they don't realize is they're so much heavier than
well, and that's what most people's feedback is like they'll take one of these cars out and they're like, this thing is horrible. Absolutely horrible, like terrifying. Terrifyingly fast, but handles
horribly.
Like horribly. So our hopes with doing these vehicles, and because of the platform it is, we should be able to. And we're kind of lucky in the sense that they're pretty heavy vehicles to start with. So distributing the weight is going to be not that hard.
So are you going to put any of the batteries like underneath the floor?
Some will be in the back, some will be in the front. So we have scales, so we can corner weigh it, so we can get all the balance in.
Okay.
So we'll rough weigh them where they need to be to get the balance first, and then we'll start fabbing brackets and battery trays and all that kind of stuff. But traditionally, it's the slab. Everyone just puts the slab in, and then when you see it in like Cobra kit cars and 911s, it's like you couldn't do anything more detrimental to those platforms. Like they're horrible. So
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting concept, being able to take the batteries apart and remote place them so you can separate that.
It's a little more work, and it's probably definitely a lot more expensive, but it's going to make a better finished product.
I mean, because the end result is something that you're going to want to enjoy, right? I mean, what's the point if you don't?
Yeah. Going back to the point of why people do these swaps into classic cars now is because back then, or even these cars were not reliable. You look at the engine, you look at all these things,
cars,
they're not reliable.
And even less so now because they're 50, 60 years old. Like, they just wear out. That's it. So,
and then parts availability on some classic stuff.
That's another thing too.
Is almost non-existent, right? So I mean, I think that's part of the issue for a lot of people. And
so with the drivetrain taken out or the engine taken out, I feel like you take a huge chunk of what could go wrong or what usually goes wrong with these classic cars.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is kind of what is drawing people to do these a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of that and then what we'll call the facade of environmentalism.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's environmentally
might be
friendly as
controversial,
it's
but-
supposed to be or what is perceived to be.
Yeah.
But I think it probably makes people feel good about themselves.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not spending money
I'm
on
not
gas.
burning gas
not
and this
killing the
inefficient,
elephants
yeah.
and yeah.
But we
Dinosaurs.
all know the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other side of it is for a different podcast.
Because I also heard different podcast, but it's interesting. I think I forgot who was saying this, that it takes 100,000 miles to reap the benefits of an electric like car, environmentally wise, because for the first 100,000 miles you still burn more. You're more toxic to the environment than even a gas car.
Oh, really?
So I think it's after 100,000 miles, and then
Just-
it kind of evens out its footprint type
I don't
deal.
think these cars are built to have that longevity. So I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Did
true.
you hear the
right?
argument lots that these electric cars are essentially disposable?
Very true.
Like,
Well,
there's
yeah,
no
this-
used electric car market that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, you think about technology. The advancement in technology is like exponentially growing. Like every couple of years, there's something newer that's lighter, smaller, cheaper, and better
Yeah.
in every way. And yeah, so 2 years ago, it was the greatest thing, but now it's junk.
That's very
I
interesting.
mean, that's a,
to
and that's
actually
a
note
thing,
too.
right? I mean, whereas, I mean, you start talking about combustion engines and things like that, things out of classic cars, they're known, loved, and, they just exist.
Yeah.
But even those are getting swapped for late model engines. We
Yeah.
know
Oh, yeah.
that.
I mean, and that's a big part of our business, right? I mean,
Yeah. And so it's very interesting. It's funny you mentioned that because doing these combustion engine, or when you talk about combustion engine versus electric and all of that, a lot of people are saying go to electric, but I feel like there might be other things. Like I know there's like hydrogen power and all of that stuff.
yeah, I don't know much
So-
about it, but I think
Yeah.
Toyota just came out with some stuff.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't think
supposed
they
to
have
be
the
pretty
infrastructure
revolutionary.
for it yet.
Even electric, I feel like the infrastructure is not.
It wasn't
It's
great, but
okay,
it's definitely better. Like we have a
but-
Tesla charging station 2 blocks from the shop. So I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but
But it's also like compatibility too, because I know with driving a normal electric car that is not Tesla, a lot of time you can't really use a Tesla supercharger, and
Oh,
it's
really?
like a lot
yeah,
of
but
the
they
time.
have all those annoying parking spots in every building. And you're like, I hate those guys.
Yeah.
It's right next to the door.
So true.
That's almost
The most
a reason
convenient
enough
spot
to get
to
an
get
electric,
electric
car by
car.
itself. So you park next to the door.
Yeah,
Like they got a better parking spots than the handicaps.
it's so true. Actually, that's interesting for you to mention. If you electrify with this Defender, we're electrifying now. Is it going to have a Tesla plug, or is it going to have a different
No, it'll
plug?
have an aftermarket one.
Okay.
So, but not Tesla. It won't be Tesla's supercharger.
Oh, that would be interesting too.
Why? There's faster ones now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
That's
know
what.
that. Okay.
To be completely honest, we
Yeah.
haven't actually committed to a charging platform yet because right now, currently, they're evolving so quickly that we don't want to end up with the old one. So that's like one of the last things that we'll probably commit to.
Oh.
Because like right now I've been in talks with like a couple of different ones and it's like they're evolving so quickly. Like even one of our customers here is developing an EV charger that's supposed to be able to charge it in like something crazy like 20 minutes.
But isn't that detrimental to the battery life in general? Like it doesn't last as
No,
long.
I don't think that's the case. I think just the faster you, from my basic understanding, is the faster you apply the charge to batteries, they just get really, really hot, right?
Okay.
And I think it's just there are limitations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has another
We'll have
one
to
that's
dig in.
like some
Yeah.
other crazy number, but that's very much like what he just said. There's a cooling issue
Oh.
because like they can do it apparently in like 6 minutes, but it just gets too hot. Like,
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
knowing that, when we actually dig into these projects, we'll be putting in, heat exchangers and things that are like,
Yeah, yeah.
oversized
Okay.
to what we think is necessary, so that if there are faster charging scenarios,
You can
then
take advantage
It can
of that.
still,
Yeah.
cope with it. So
That's interesting. And then with electrifying classic cars, is there a way to go on like take advantage of that in everyday driving? For example, going on the HOV lane, all of that stuff, because they apply to electric cars a lot of the time. So like, is there?
That sounds like a big plus.
Does the government like? Can you apply for a
you
thing?
Can.
And oh, you can. Okay,
you can get the EV sticker.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually okay. That's cool then.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big plus in the pros list, right?
Okay. Yeah, I guess that is a huge advantage because if you can do that, all the more like that'll be cool.
Yeah.
And then regarding combustion engines and all of that. So right now, because you're saying right now you're not 100% there of like, oh, we're gonna put this in everything going on from now on from like classic cars. So you would rather go with like a combustion engine?
I think it comes down to what you intend to use it for.
Okay.
Like if you want to be able to, hop in and drive to California, you're gonna need a motor because like the electric side of it is pretty cool, but it's gonna take you a week and a half to get there. Like to try to like a lot of these platforms, like a Tesla is built like a skateboard. It's just a giant slab of batteries.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So it's like they can make it so that you can get a range that's, whereas our limitations are going to be the actual body of the car.
Because
we have to adapt and we have to keep, like, especially in the Defender, we have to maintain that aesthetic of what it is. And then she wants to go off-roading. Yeah. We're not going to hang a bunch of batteries underneath the car.
You don't want to
start limiting ground clearance.
And then fire hazard.
Like, the range that we're shooting for her is like 250 miles.
Which is still a lot.
That's going to take a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the hardest part of that is getting all those batteries to move that car.
And I was about to ask, what about the weight? Because it's heavy on its own.
Heavy car.
Yeah.
And then you're adding how many 1,000 pounds worth of batteries?
Yeah, we'll be adding probably about 1,600 pounds in batteries.
Oh my gosh.
So it's quite a bit, but we're removing the stock drivetrain too. So there's going to be some give and take, but probably by the time we're done, we'll have added somewhere 800 to 1,000 pounds to it.
Over the original.
The original.
With the engine and everything.
With the engine
and
everything.
Gosh. And so for that swap, are you going to be using like, what subframe are you guys using?
No subframe. We're not doing it that style. The systems that we're using are from a company called Revolt.
Okay.
And they almost do it. They build a front and rear section for a Tesla-based motor that goes in place of a standard like internal combustion engine. So it'll essentially replace the motor and trans. So the way they lay it out is in that format.
Interesting.
Instead of like the half shafts of a traditional Tesla sort of subframe, they turn the motor 90 degrees and then you have a yoke out the back to hook to your driveline. So it's direct drive.
Sick. Okay, that's pretty awesome.
So, but you're taking this particular, I don't know if you can actually see it behind me, this Defender.
It's over there.
And it's probably currently, I want to say maybe 80 horsepower. And I think, what did we get it up to on the freeway? We got it up to like 70,
I think it was 70 and it felt like the car was going to fall apart.
Right? So it's like we're going from 70 horsepower to 450 horsepower in like, I think 680 or 700 foot-pounds.
That sounds very terrifying.
So that's pretty dramatic.
Huge improvement, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So like that thing right now is just like equivalent to driving a tractor down the freeway. And then now it's going to be like a monster.
Yeah.
You guys did a video.
Yes,
driving that vehicle.
If you want to check it out, check out
you
our
guys
channel.
should check it out.
Yeah.
Just go back in history.
That was so funny. It was very interesting, holding up people in the traffic light.
People were not stoked.
Truck, and people were not sympathetic to the classic car
they
vibe
do not
at
care.
all.
Get out of our way.
Get out of the way.
I'm pretty sure there are some Teslas on our ass too that were upset.
Yes. So it would be very interesting to see what that is like.
I think that's going to be half the fun is having something that's not perceived as being fast and have it be like haul
I
ass.
agree. I think that's going to be
like,
awesome.
Isn't it like, wouldn't it be like even dangerous with the amount of power that it's?
Well, that one we're going pretty far with. Like
we're not putting a roll. Are we putting a roll cage? We're trying to keep it as stock looking as possible. And so like,
still comes down to your foot. You don't have to drive like that.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, all the boxes for that build are being checked, right? Like all the suspension upgrades to handle all of that is all going to be a part of the big build, right? So
Which again,
it
goes back to
should
our
be a
original
really
conversation.
great vehicle when it's done.
Like we're doing the whole package.
Yeah.
Like it's all going to be working.
It's not just engine
We're
trans.
not just putting a motor
No.
trans and
Yeah.
sending it down the road with the old stuff in it. Like it's,
No, it's a complete build.
Yeah, and also going to the conversation of Teslas or electric modern cars in general. Have you guys driven electric
have,
stuff?
yeah.
Okay. And have you driven?
See,
any
I
before?
haven't. I
Yeah.
actually haven't yet.
Okay.
So
That'll be interesting.
I should
for you
probably
to-
do that.
Yeah, for you to
before we
experience.
even do these ones.
Yeah, I think it'll be
probably do
cool. Yeah. So what
You
did
guys
you
have both
think
done it.
about driving like a Tesla?
I thought it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any sort of preconceived notions of what it was going to be. And at that point, so like I say, the acceleration of it
It's mind bending.
is like, yeah, it's mind bending. And the fact that you don't have all these other things offsetting the acceleration, like you're not gauging it by engine RPM and all
Nope.
these other things. It's like you
You just
are
go. You just
Yeah,
go.
You just go.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like you can focus on just how hard this thing is accelerating, and it's like it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You hear bearing noise and tires contact,
And
and that's
that's
it.
it. Yeah.
And you're just matted. Like
Yeah.
that's
It's mind blowing.
That sounds awesome.
It's so fast. And like technology too in general, like self-driving, all of that stuff is just weird.
I'm still not
You're not still not a fan.
I don't enjoy any
is-
of that stuff.
Really?
I hate it.
It is pretty
all the extra tech and
Like
everything.
the
inside.
lane changing assist and like it's things trying to take steering wheel away from you. All
it's
that.
nice
I
when
turn
it
all that
works,
stuff
though.
off.
Really? No, I leave it on. It's just relaxing. Like it's like to a
Yeah.
certain point you're like,
Too
ah.
relaxing.
Oh, you're
Look
not
at the
even
Tesla
driving a car
cars.
anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone down there is taking a nap. Now the cars are all smashed
Yeah.
up.
Did you not do a video
Oh yeah, that was fun.
eating a
A chicken
Big Mac
sandwich
or something?
yep, in the Tesla, going
Yeah.
like in. It was probably not the safest idea, but what I did was, it was also plays into the part of YouTube being weird because I made 2 videos of that Tesla. First one was a full review. I reviewed the Model X.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I was just done with the review. I was like, I need to go. I'm hungry. I had to go buy a not Big Mac. I think a chicken sandwich or something.
Yeah.
Got that and just ate it and just drove and just recorded the drive in the LA canyons. And they're very windy roads and all of that. It did it for the most part. This was well. And this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It did it relatively well. It did go out a little bit, so I kind of like catch it at one point. But for the most part, it was good. And I was just like, let me just see if this self-driving is actually a thing.
Oh my
And it was glorious. It was-
Pretty good.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
and that video did so well. But my review didn't even do like anything. Like it was weird. So, but yes. So I like Tesla in general, but I just don't agree with the way they run the company. Some of it, but oh well. Different podcast.
I admire the technology of it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like Tim. I actually like driving.
Yeah.
You know, I like going through gears and I like
completely
just
agree with
all of
that.
that. Like,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I think the perfect scenario, I would love to try like a manual transmission in behind an electric motor.
Interesting.
Which they have. There's conversions.
Interesting.
available
Yeah,
like that.
I think that would be kind
Okay.
of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that power, that torque is there.
That would be
But,
cool to
I
move
mean,
your own gears in
just
an
to
electric
go through
car.
the gears.
I
At
think
least,
so.
at least you're driving then.
I think the one thing is you don't clutch it though,
Yeah, because you
You
don't
only
have
clutch it from
RPM
first.
and stuff.
and then the rest you just shift.
What?
Okay.
So there's still a component missing.
I'm like
That's
I'm kind of
weird.
curious. Like, why is that? The,
kinda like
the
clutches
trans
the
does the
upshift.
trans not have to still like disengage?
Yeah, but I think it's like clutchless upshifts. You know what I mean?
Which is
It'd
super
be
cool.
exactly the same.
I mean,
I think you just clutch on the downshift maybe.
That's
I don't
weird.
know.
I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting to try for sure. And so if you have an electric car that's manual, hit us up and let us know if you want us to drive it. We'll make a video on it.
I promise not to break
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
drive it with the utmost respect.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much it for this one. I don't want to make it too long. And yeah, but do you guys have any other extra things to
Nope.
add
Well, I
to
just
the
wanted to
electric
say,
system?
like, I mean, I think to answer the actual question of
Yeah.
whether or not you should EV a classic car, probably not, because I think classic cars, if you think about them dimensionally, they're so much smaller.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think packaging is going to be a good idea. But it could still be done, and it could be really, really cool. So
Yeah.
if it's the right car, I mean, just like the Defender and the G-Wagon and all that. Those classify as a classic car, and I'd say, heck yeah, do it.
I am 50-50 on this because I love the sound of an engine. I love,
Me too.
Like, oh my gosh, there's just something about it that I feel like, again, the electric experience is it's just not there.
And it's funny, like you get like this tech out there nowadays where they're sound emulators and whatnot.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I actually haven't heard anything.
It sounds.
myself.
Have you heard the new Dodge Charger EV?
Doesn't it sound like a cat?
What?
It sounds horrible.
Out of here, man.
It's
Like,
bad.
why would they do that?
Yeah, so I feel like no matter whatever sound augmentation or whatever that you want to,
I don't think they should do any of that.
No.
There's no.
just leave it electric. That's enough. It's fine. And so, I would stick to gas powered for now, but I am open to having like an electric classic, like a British sports,
See,
not
that
sports
makes
car,
sense, 'cause
like
those
a
things got,
Rolls
like-
Royce or something, like an
I was
electric.
thinking more like MGs and those things.
Really?
Like they have no
Oh,
power.
okay.
They have no
Okay.
power,
So
but
who
they're
cares?
also like they're like pint-sized cars.
They're very small.
They're so small. Like, where would you even put the batteries?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they never handled good to start with. Just put them in the back.
No, I drove the other
Okay.
MG, the V8
the
MG.
V8.
That was nice.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
fun. But yeah, I completely agree with you, Rob. It's like like they say, there's no replacement for display. I mean,
Yeah, they
it is
say
with
that,
turbo
right? I mean, and I
superchargers.
believe it too.
But still, there's no replacement. I think at this point in my life for an electric classic car.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
In my fantasy world, I'd have EVs as well as combustion.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have it all. I mean, like I haven't driven an EV yet.
yeah, true, very true.
It might change my opinion. I might be all in EV if I did.
Like imagine a 50 Rolls Royce, a 50s Rolls Royce with an electric powertrain.
So, that kind of makes sense.
Oh
Makes sense,
my
though.
god,
That makes
Like, that
sense.
fits the whole. What do they call it?
I don't know.
Oh,
what you call that.
NVH or
No, anyways, but it suits the whole aesthetic.
aesthetic.
Of what it is.
Yeah.
Smooth, quiet.
So smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I think
know?
in that situation.
But when you're thinking like Corvettes and Chevelles and muscle cars, and
Yeah,
they need to make
it
noise.
seems wrong. Yeah,
yeah, it just
they need to
seems
make
wrong.
noise.
I completely agree.
It's a big part of what makes them great.
yeah,
Exactly.
and it's
But
that,
if you're taking something like this Defender that was never fast, never smooth, never quiet,
that would be
now
actually
it makes sense. Like,
Yes.
now
I think
you're,
I think
you're
so,
actually
too.
accomplishing something.
Yeah.
But if you're taking something else and going, you're almost going backwards.
Yeah.
So that's it right there. I mean, if you're gonna do an EV, make sure you choose the right platform
I
and
think
make
so.
it so that it's actually upgrading it.
That's a good point.
And if
Choose
the
the
LS
right
will fit,
platform.
put
Put an LS in it. Boom. Exactly. That is the perfect way to end this podcast, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we will catch you next week. Bye.